good morning to you, sir. So, I welcome everyone over here for the C2C podcast. It is one of our under flagship event, C2C, Campus to Company. So, this event will be a series of podcasts where we invite our alumni to share their experience of transitioning from campus to corporate life. So, for this episode, it is my honor to introduce an esteemed alumnus of our institute, Mr. Soham Pandya. Mr. Soham Pandya is a distinguished graduate of Pandit Deendayal Energy University. Formerly, it was Pandit Deendayal Petroleum University. He has completed his bachelor's degree in Petroleum Engineering in the year 2011. Currently, Mr. Soham Pandya serves as Senior Consultant, Digital and Energy at Infosys Consulting. I welcome you, sir, on behalf of FIPI PDEU Student Chapter. Sir, before
Thank
going
you.
uh, into those corporate questions, sir, I just wanted to ask you: do you miss your college time, sir?
Of course, yeah. I think you'll get that answer from anyone who has attended college. So I think college time is one of the best learning experiences of life, and on various fronts, not just academia, but also to improve your soft skills and developing your individual personality. So I definitely miss it.
Great, sir, great. Okay, so there were a few questions amongst the batchmates of ours as well as a few of our own. We'll be opening one of the question rounds at the end of the selected questions we have. So the first question was, sir, as per the title of our event, it's campus to company. So can you share your personal experience of this transitioning from campus to the corporate world?
Sure. So when I graduated from PD, then PDPU, I was placed at SR Oil in Durgapur. Luckily, it was, I think, a little over 30 of us who were at once placed at that same company. So it just felt like a group of friends moving from college to a group of friends moving to a company all together. So that way, I would say we were kind of lucky that even at SR for first couple of years, we were surrounded by the same people as we were
Yeah.
in BDPU. But other than that, I think what was not a cultural shock, but a professional shock was basically there was a lot more learning, hands-on learning um, in company as compared to as in academia. Academia definitely prepares you for that, but actually what you learn at the company is, it's much more significantly more than what you learn in academia. Um,
Right.
from my last visit at PDPU, I saw there was immense development from when we used to be there. There were so many more labs and all of that. So which is really good because we did not have those facilities when we were there. It's more practical learning now, more hands-on learning in the campus itself. For us, it was more going to the field and learning all of that. So
Okay. Great to hear that, sir. So, sir, there was, any specific achievement in or experience in your career that attribute to the skills and knowledge you acquired during your university time. Any specific experience or achievement?
again, it's been pretty long since I was at PDP or even at SR. But as I said, I think one thing that I would advise, and it was a takeaway for me as well, is to have strong fundamentals while you are at PDP, while you are in college, because irrespective of if it's petroleum engineering or any other field, I guess the fundamentals that you develop in your college give you a best launch for your career after college. So I think that's one key takeaway that I would share.
Right, sir. So, sir, nowadays, the students are also like kindly more pressing over CGP and in the internships. So, how, according to you, is it a really students' ultimate to be focused on? Is it really to be focused, or it's something that can be taken lightly? CGPA and internships.
Both are important, I would say. What would be less, what I would focus less on would be competition between students in terms of, getting on the top and all of that. I guess um, you are your own competition would be something that I would follow, right? So what I was yesterday, I'm just gonna try to better myself today. In terms of CGPA, yes, there is a minimum requirement, and there's no escaping out of it. Whenever you graduate, and if you want to apply for placements or anything, there is a minimum requirement for, depending on what kind of position it is for CGPA. So I wouldn't say go, soft on that part, but definitely focus on that. What is more important for academic academic to professional transition is internships. They will definitely help you. It gives you a real life experience of how things work at a firm, how things work in the field, and so on. So
Okay, so sir, as you say, internship does provide an insight in the corporate world. So does it is internship something that will make you understand the corporate world, or it will be just outlook of it? So like, how does internships actually affect the curriculum of the student when he goes to the corporate world?
So there are multiple types of internships which give you insights into multiple segments of that industry. For instance, if you are interning with and it also depends on the size of the firm that you're interning with. For example, if you're interning with a relatively smaller firm, then you get insights of, for example, all departments of that firm, uh, from top level to the junior most level, who does what and how things flow, what is the workflow within that particular company, and so on. As compared to when you intern against a larger company, you are just stuck to a limited domain of that company where you're just focusing on one particular department. You are given a small project, and your target of the internship is to complete that small project. Um, what I would suggest is to have the best understanding of the industry. What I would suggest is to get an internship that gives you more than just that, right? So not something where you are just assigned a project and your target is to complete that project by the end of your internship tenure. But in addition to that, if you get opportunities to learn about other segments within other departments within that company, then that would be a plus point.
Okay. So sir, do you suggest on doing good internships, or you prefer doing more internships? Like, good good two internships are good, or you should do more internships for the betterment of the CV or anything?
I I don't think the number of internships really matter. The quality of internships definitely do. So I would suggest if you do even single internship, make sure that it's impactful. If you do 10 internships, make sure you're creating a difference even in as an intern, because that's what these companies will remember. That's what you will also take away from the company. So it's a win-win situation if that strategy is followed.
Sir, other than theoretical knowledge, which we obviously get from the university, do you feel there has been any most valuable further corporate life from the university? Apart from the theoretical, obviously theoretical does help, but in a more specific way from the university.
I yes, I think other than theoretical knowledge, whatever you learn, um, definitely the soft skills that you develop during your tenure at university help. It helps you develop your communication skills, which is you know it's something very important in a professional world. Um, I'll give you my experience when I was at university. Even when I graduated, to be honest, I was pretty soft spoken and pretty much I wouldn't call myself introvert, but I did not speak much. Um, Slowly I did realize that I had to work on that front. So I had to open up, start speaking more. I think that has what that has helped me in my current role especially. So I think the soft skills that you develop, it it could be just one soft skill or multiple soft skills that you develop during your tenure at university. That definitely helps you prepare for the professional world.
So also, so that job market is completely developing, right? From latest perspective, AIs are a big part of it. So how do you suggest on being adaptable and in this corporate, for the continuous growth and the longer career? How do you cope up with that?
I think the key to that is not to shy away from learning. You're never too old to learn new things, to be honest. If you are in school continuing your degree, or if you are in school taking a new degree in your 30s and 40s, that's fine. Um, so age should never be a restriction for you to learn more. And it's not about getting another degree or something like that, right? You can also work on learning new tools. As you rightly said, AI, large language models, these are the, front foot of the pitch right now. So if someone wants to, just take up learning, they can. There are so many resources available nowadays. So you can take up learning of all these tools and new technologies yourself. It is also self-paced, so you don't have to enroll in classes or anything. Um, so yeah, I think the key to that is the drive to learn um, and improve your own skill set.
So just from the few alumni or a few good corporate who those came into the university, they often we heard that doing masters and all those things from the foreign country, it is a big of an Indian trend that they do not get a good pay scale. Also, they are not as well accepted by the Indian petroleum industry. So, is it really a thing over here that doing masters and those things again abroad, then coming back to India is a typical thing, or is it the same all over the world that compared to B Tech, masters and B Tech are more preferred one? Is it so?
It depends on what industry you're talking about, right? I can comment on the petroleum side. I know so many people who did masters and who willingly went back to India to
Okay.
continue on their job. I also know people, including me, who stayed back here after their masters. So I think it's a mix of both. If you are willing to, go back to India, if you really like that lifestyle and your family is there, then I don't think pay it has ever been an issue in petroleum
Okay.
industry, especially in India. US was a different story a few years back when the oil prices, the entire oil market had crashed. Um,
Correct. Yeah.
but yeah, oil industry is fluctuating and a cyclical industry. So these things are expected in that. Something I cannot comment about is if it is the same in the other industries as well or not.
Okay. Okay. Also, sir, nowadays multidisciplinary studies is also being emphasized by the students. So,
Mhm.
do you prefer that, or uh, like, what do you want to comment on that?
So as you progress in your career, these multidisciplinary skills are definitely required, right? I'll just give you one example, irrespective of what industry you are in. Few years down the line within that industry, in a professional setting, you might go into a managerial role, which requires you not just the technical front of that particular industry, but also the managerial front. So I think having those kind of skills are definitely helpful. Um, Another thing that, you know, another example would be just like in petroleum industry. You definitely need to know the ins and out of the technical side of it, but uh, with time now, the entire oil and gas industry is shifting to a digital front. So what was done
Yeah.
manually earlier, it's moving to digital side now. People are trying to automate things left and right and so on. So having both the skills, for example, a petroleum engineering degree and skills on the IT side, that definitely helps. That makes you stand out of the crowd. Because let's say if I am graduating 240 petroleum engineers a year, what is
Right.
something that will, shine a light on you rather than any other one, any other folk in that batch of 240 students. So having multidisciplinary skills, having additional skills, definitely helps you stand out from the crowd.
So there are a few things we do not know as studying, but there are a few things which changes in the time of placement. During the placement rounds, there are things which we are not taught or we are not known. They come up. So are those any of things which you experienced or you can share with us for that on the placement rounds mainly?
So I don't distinctly remember my first placement route at PDPU, but I have taken and given multiple interviews after that. So, I can comment on my experiences so far.
Yes.
In any such scenario, I think the key is to um, convince the person across the table that you're willing to learn and be honest, because if I don't know something, I I shouldn't lie about it that I know anything, because that will be caught.
Right.
Um, be honest, but do tell experiences where you did not know something, but tried to learn it and grasp that particular tool, technology, skill quickly, and that did not impact any day-to-day operations for that particular company and so on. So I guess that is the key over here, that you need to showcase that you're willing to learn.
Right. So now, sir, also for this event C2C, we conduct a whole week where there are few mock placement rounds which are conducted for the students. So in that, sir, we thought of keeping a round for resume screening. So, sir, is it really important to make a impactful resume, or the importance of resume? Is it really good while for the placement rounds in the campus itself?
100% on that, right? Yes. I think to get into any company, or even to get an interview, I think resume is the key. And what I always tell people who ask me that question is, tailor your resume to the position that you're applying for. It's good to have one basic template or one basic draft of your resume which you can modify, but make sure you modify that particular resume to the job position that you're applying to, and then submit it. All right, because um, these days what's happening is these resume are not screened by humans. They are automatically screened by system, and these what these system do is they just look for keywords and try to match that with the job description.
Right.
So even though your background is impressive, if there is nothing similar to the job description in your in your resume, or no keywords are found, it's automatically gonna throw your resume out of the system. So that's one key thing. A lot of companies don't prefer this system of working, where they still prefer, human intervention and someone from the HR department still going in and screening through the resume, which I personally think is good, because a machine cannot, judge skills as good as a
Right.
human can. Even in those cases, the recruiters, they would usually just glance through the resume. They are not gonna spend time reading entire resume, because they probably get what, 50 to 100 resumes a day. So they're not gonna spend 5-10 minutes per resume to go over it. So they're probably gonna take 20 to 30 seconds to glance over it and then move ahead. So those
Right.
20 to 30 seconds are the key. So I think there are multiple studies done on this as well. What part of your resume you should place the most important aspect that you want to showcase, and so on. So if anyone looks into that more, you'll find more details. But yeah, tailor fit your resume to the position that you are applying to. Make sure that you are personalizing your resume to the firm and to the position, uh, and try to get the best things out rather than putting all the things in your resume.
Right. Also, sir, we are repeatedly told nowadays in the university that communication and the extracurricular skills are required for the placement perspective on a major basis. So what do you want to compliment on that? Is it something a fact in the corporate world, or is it something for the mindset of the people? So that's
So both of these things tell what are your what in addition to your day-to-day job will you bring to the table for that company, right? Because what you're expected to do in a company is what is your day-to-day job. What you're not expected is what makes you stand out, right? So if I go above and beyond to do something, that's what's going to make me stand out. That's what's going to determine my appraisal at the end of the year, right? So
Right.
communication, yes, that is 100% where you need to have good communication skills to in order to communicate in a professional world. It could be written, oral, all kind of communication skills. Um, the voluntary activities that you do, um, it it can be anything, right? Extracurricular activities that you mentioned. Um, how you are giving back to the society is one key thing that these companies look for. So, are you involved with some NGO? Are you doing some kind of social work or something like that? In addition to your, so for example, if I am in an industry, automation industry, how involved was I in some sort of extracurricular activities that involved robotics as a part of it, um, going into fairs in different colleges and participating in those kind of competition. That kind of gives an insight that I am interested in this industry. I take it onto me to learn more things and develop my own products within this industry to the best of my capability. So I guess both of them are equally important for sure.
Sir, also, you know, can you offer a piece of advice for the job interview for the upcoming fourth year students? Like, what are the key things they need to keep in mind for the same?
Research the company. That's the first thing. Okay.
Okay.
In what position you're applying for, you should definitely know it. You cannot just blindly apply for it. But let's say if there is a company coming on campus, research it. Um, a lot of times when you very well pretty much clear the written part, I don't know if they still have group discussions or not, but all these rounds, when you clear it and when you come to the personal round, a lot of times the first few questions that will be asked to you is around the company background. What is the vision of the company? What are the core principles of the company, and so on. So you need to be aware of these. If you are not, that definitely does not create a good image. Be confident. Definitely be confident. That being said, also be honest, right? Don't try to just tackle question with. So, for example, if you don't know the core principles and you just try to just bluff any of those, don't try to do that. Right? Just be honest. Say I don't know it, and then try to move on. Which it won't reflect good, but just try to move. And this is what you can do at that moment. Um, I think these are the two key things. What I would also suggest is to showcase in the interview what you don't have in your resume. When you're communicating with the interviewers, they already have gone through your resume, and that's why they have selected you. This is your chance to tell them what you did not put in your resume. So I guess utilize this time well in that case.
Okay. Okay. Also, at times, there's a saying that planned things always result in a better outcomes rather than the unplanned things. So, what are some unplanned hurdles that you can encounter after the placement, like when you are placed in a company, but as a new graduate or new fresher, what do you experience over there, and your hurdles you have remembered from the past experience?
So moving directly out of university, especially with an undergraduate degree and going into professional setting, that's actually when you are going into a very new world. And you're right that you know uh, things won't go as planned. So, for example, when we went from PDP to SR, we did not know what particular department we will be placed into. We had,
Right.
a, a, I think, a couple of months of overview or orientation followed by selection of the department, or our what would our priority be, and then we were selected in those departments based on if there were spots available or not. So things won't go as planned. Um, but as I mentioned, you are entering into a new world. Keep your mind open. There's always scope of moving from one position to other later on in life. I think you're still into a learning phase when you step fresh into a professional world. So keep your mind open. You never know what you may or might not like. Because when I was placed in SR, um, I did not have a lot of understanding of the in-depth knowledge of hydraulic fracturing, because it was just a part of the curriculum that was taught to us. It was only after I, joined SR, I was placed in that particular department. That's when I started actually learning the skills on the field for that particular role. Yeah, so I guess, as I said, just be flexible, be open to learning, and I think you would be great.
Sir, is there any piece of advice from your side for the students who aim at moving out of the country and to the foreign countries like US and European countries maybe? So, is there any specific advice you wanna give for that from your
One thing
experience?
that I would, yeah, um, there's no right or wrong on that, right? If that is the
Right.
question. I think if you're moving out of country, make sure you know why you're doing that. Okay, because when you move out of country, you definitely leave a lot of things behind, and you start missing them for sure. Uh, so make sure you know very well why you want to move out of your country. Let's say if you're going for masters, I if someone is applying to 10 different universities to go for masters, which means they don't know why they want to go out,
Mm,
because I would think that three or maximum five universities is something that you should have shortlisted based on
right.
where you want to land yourself into, based on the research side you want to go into. So that's something tells a gives an insight about why someone wants or why someone does not want to move out of country. Similarly, if it's some particular role, right? Is it a contractual role? Is it a full-time role? Definitely, there are a lot of learning opportunities in India and outside. There are certain things that you will find outside of India in terms of learning that are not yet available in India. This was definitely evident in the oil and gas industry when we had graduated, when shale gas was not even discussed or mentioned about in India, and shale gas was
Right.
already developed in other countries like US. So
Mm,
I think there is definitely technology transfer in certain specific industries from outside India into India. So moving to these countries that are more advanced in technology on in that particular industry gives you a leading edge as compared to others in a professional setting. But as I mentioned earlier, right, you are your own competition. So go with a mindset of learning more than what you had, than the knowledge that you had yesterday, like not trying to compete with something or someone, and that shouldn't be your intention to move out of country.
right. Okay. So, sir, lastly, while looking back to your phase, your career, was there any one piece of advice you wish you had earlier, when you were transitioning from the campus to company? So, be it masters from the PhD to the placement phase, or be it BTech phase. So, was there one piece of advice you wish you had?
One piece of advice I wish I had, or I was given, that's, and there it wasn't one piece, but it's still,
Yeah, you can just
difficult
share
to
multiple.
nail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still difficult to nail down to something very specific, because there are multiple things. I think the biggest takeaway that I have got in my professional life is that all industries will keep on changing no matter what. right? Because every day you see new things. It could be oil and gas, electronics, IT. Things keep on changing, right? Who would have expected 10 years from now that you would be seeing flying cars around? Leave
True.
aside just the electric cars, right? You have flying taxis these days and so on. Who would have thought that AI would have to come this far, right? Large language models and
Right. Right.
everything. It's pretty significant improvement in past few years, and you don't know what's gonna happen in next 5 or 10 years. So I think keep your mind open, be flexible enough to learn new things. Um, if there will be, some news here and there that would say, yeah, robotics, IT, AI is gonna take away your job. But end of the day, remember that we are the ones that create those systems,
Created AI.
right?
True. True.
Um, so it's partially true that it might take away some kind of job, but these are also the forefronts that uh, can be leveraged to create new jobs. Um, so I guess if I had to nail it down to a couple of specifics, then be open to learning and do your own research rather than just believing stories you hear from anyone. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for the valuable time you've taken out. We would like to express our sincere gratitude, and we had some great insights today from you. Also, to our audience, thank you for tuning in. We hope you found this episode informative and empowering. Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for getting me on here. It was nice getting back to students from PDEU now. But
Yes,
definitely brought back some memories from universities that are highly cherished. Before parting ways, what I would say is, if since you guys are still at university, right, make the most of it. I don't think you will get any such time once you step out of the campus. So just make the most of it. I think this is the best time where you develop yourself. This is the best time that you get with your friends once you enter the professional world. Although, you might make these promises of meeting everyone, meeting each other at least once a year or something like that, that will fade away for sure because things change. It's not a fault of anyone or anything, right? Things change,
right.
circumstances change. So I guess, yeah, make the most of your campus life right now, and all the best to everyone. I think
Okay, sir.
few of you already have my few of you already visited my LinkedIn profile, so you know
Yes,
how you can reach out to me. If I
sure,
can
sir.
be of any other help, just let me know.
Sure, sir. It was great. It was our honor, sir, actually, to have you here. So, thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Om. Thanks, everyone.